Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so today we're looking at some pretty interesting connections between brain structure, early substance use, and uh,
Estrogen.
estrogen. Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, so we've got a press release here from the NIH about this huge study they did on adolescent brains.
And a news article.
Yeah, and a news article all about estrogen and how
Look, and drinking, right?
yes, specifically binge drinking in mice.
Okay.
So get ready. This is gonna,
Let's jump in.
yeah,
So this NIH study, it's called the ABCD study.
fetchy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Which stands for Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development.
Makes sense.
It does. And they looked at almost 10,000 kids.
I was going to say, that's a lot of kids.
That's massive, right?
It's huge. That makes it the largest study of its kind.
Wow. Yeah, so how'd they even...
Well, they took MRI scans
Okay.
of kids between 9 and 11 years old
Okay.
and then tracked their use of alcohol, nicotine, and cannabis.
Okay. So over time.
Yeah, for 3 years.
Oh, wow. And they found...
So they something surprising?
Yeah, that kids who used substances before they turned 15.
Before 15, wow.
Yeah, actually had differences in their brain structure.
Huh.
And get this.
Yeah.
The differences were there before they even started using anything.
So that means, like, the
It's just-
structure itself.
It suggests that brain structure might actually play a role in, whether someone is more likely to use substances.
So it's not just...
Not just peer pressure.
Right, or making bad choices.
Right.
There's actually something, like, in their brain that's making them more vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
That's huge.
yeah, now we need to remember that this doesn't mean brain structure is destiny.
Right.
There are lots of other factors.
Of course.
Genetics, environment,
Yeah, social influences.
right, all that.
Makes sense.
But this research just gives us a new piece of the puzzle.
So what kind of differences are we talking about? Like, what did they find?
Well, they found differences in total brain volume, the volume of certain structures beneath the cortex,
Yeah.
and most notably,
Yeah.
the thickness of the cortex itself.
The cortex. Now, remind me, what is the cortex again?
Oh, it's that outer layer of your brain.
Oh, right.
It's the part that's responsible for, like, thinking,
Oh.
planning, and making decisions.
Like the high-level stuff.
Yeah, basically all the complex stuff.
Yeah.
And the study found that kids who used substances tended to have a thinner cortex.
Oh, wow.
Even before they started using.
So a thinner cortex might make you more vulnerable
Potentially, yeah.
to using substances.
Yeah.
That's it just raises so many questions.
It really does.
Like, could we use brain scans to, like, identify kids who might be at risk?
Yeah.
And even if we could, how do we do that ethically?
Right. Like, how do you even approach that?
Yeah.
Those are some very important questions.
Yeah.
And they just highlight how complex this whole issue is.
Totally.
Like, just because we might be able to identify a potential risk factor, it doesn't mean we know how to intervene effectively.
Yeah.
Or even if we should.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's the big picture on brain structure.
Right.
But we've also got this other study about estrogen and drinking.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears and talk about that.
Totally.
This one was all about female mice, right?
Yes. This one focused on how estrogen levels actually affect how much alcohol female mice drink.
Okay. Interesting.
And what they found was pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
When estrogen levels were high, the mice drank significantly more alcohol.
Oh, wow.
And not only did they drink more overall,
Yeah.
but they also front-loaded their drinking,
What does that mean?
meaning they consumed most of the alcohol within, like, the first 30 minutes.
So it's not just how much they drink, but like the pattern?
Yeah, exactly, the pattern of their drinking.
That's interesting.
It is, and what's even more surprising is how estrogen seems to be working.
Okay, so how?
So it's not through the usual slow process of changing gene expression. It seemed to bind directly to receptors on the surface of neurons
Oh, wow.
in a brain region linked to reward and stress.
Okay, so it's a faster effect
Much faster.
than we thought.
Yeah, think of it like slipping a light switch.
Oh, okay.
It's immediate.
Wow.
And this can help explain why some women might experience stronger cravings or find it harder to control their drinking at certain points in their cycle.
When the estrogen levels are fluctuating.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like even though, brain structure might kind of set the stage,
Right.
hormones, like estrogen can really, like, change how we interact with substances.
Absolutely, and it just shows how complex that interplay is between our biology and our behavior.
Yeah.
And remember, this study was on female mice.
Right.
It makes you wonder, if this rapid estrogen pathway
Yeah.
could actually be a target for new treatments.
For alcohol use disorder.
Yeah, especially for women.
Right, especially for women who, like, have those,
Heightened cravings.
yeah, heightened cravings during certain times of the month.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's like, imagine if we could,
Block that pathway.
develop a medication or something that blocks the receptors that estrogen binds to. Just cut off that signal that triggers the binge drinking.
Oh, interesting.
Like interrupting a chain reaction
I see. Okay.
before it can even start.
So it wouldn't actually change someone's estrogen level.
No.
It would just change how their brain
Just how their brain responds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what? There's actually already an FDA-approved drug that inhibits the enzyme that makes estrogen.
Really?
Yeah, it's currently used to treat certain types of cancer.
Okay.
But researchers are exploring if it could be useful for treating alcohol use disorder.
Wow. So we already have something that could, like,
Potentially work.
yeah, it's like,
That's so cool how, research in one area can have these unexpected...
implications in another.
Absolutely. It really shows how interconnected science is.
It really does.
And it underscores the importance of continued research in all these areas.
Yeah.
The more we learn about these processes,
The better.
the better equipped we'll be to develop, targeted and effective treatment for all sorts of conditions.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so we've got these two studies.
Right.
One looking at, brain structure in adolescents.
Yeah.
And the other one at estrogen and binge drinking in mice.
In mice, yeah.
Like, at first glance, they seem pretty different.
Yeah, they do.
But how do they, like, fit together?
Well, I think both of these studies really remind us that addiction is...
It's complex.
It's not just, like...
Bad choice.
The willpower or
Right.
making bad choices.
Right.
It's
deeper than that.
Yeah, it's about biology, brain chemistry, genetics, environment,
All of that.
all of it kind of intertwined,
Yeah.
shaping our behaviors.
Yeah.
And vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Right. So we're talking about, like, moving away from blame, stigma, and more towards, like,
A scientific
Yeah.
and a compassionate understanding of addiction.
Yeah.
And that shift in perspective is so crucial.
Yeah, I agree.
It allows us to approach prevention and treatment with more empathy.
Empathy, yeah.
More understanding.
Makes sense.
And it reminds us that,
Everyone's different.
everyone's brain is different.
Yeah.
What works for one person?
Might not work for another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So, like, a one-size-fits-all approach
Right.
isn't really
Not really effective.
effective.
No. And I think it's becoming increasingly clear that, like,
Personalized approaches
personalized approaches are essential.
are essential, yeah.
And as we get more data,
Yeah.
we can potentially develop, targeted therapies
Based on a person's...
based on their brain structure, their hormone profile.
Oh, but it's like...
personalized medicine. Yeah. Personalized medicine for addiction.
Right.
That's pretty exciting.
It is, but it brings up,
It's cool.
some ethical considerations.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, if we can identify people who are at higher risk
Right.
based on, like,
On their biology,
the biology
how do we use that information?
responsibly.
Responsibly, ethically.
Yeah.
We need to be careful.
Right.
This doesn't lead to discrimination
Exactly.
or self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah, like, can you imagine, like, getting denied a job
I know, right?
based on your brain scan?
Or insurance.
That's wild.
That would be a huge step backward.
Totally.
And we can't forget, brain structure, hormone levels.
They're just...
They're just pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
They don't tell the whole story.
Right.
Someone might have, a certain brain characteristic or hormonal profile.
But never develop a problem.
Yeah, and never develop a substance use problem.
Right, exactly.
And others, might face challenges.
Yeah.
But ultimately achieve long-term recovery.
So it's not a guarantee.
Right, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
We need to focus on understanding these risk factors,
Right.
but also recognizing
Individual resilient.
that individuals have capacity for resilience
Yeah.
and change,
That's a good point.
and be cautious
Yeah.
about how we interpret and apply these findings.
Wow, this is a lot. A lot to think about.
Yeah.
It feels like we've just, like, scratched the surface.
We have, but that's what makes this field so fascinating.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn, to
Yeah.
discover.
I agree.
We need to keep investigating research.
Yeah.
Keep asking these tough questions.
Absolutely.
And challenging our assumptions.
For sure. It really makes you realize, like, how much we still don't know
Oh, absolutely.
about the brain and how it, like,
Influences
influences our behavior.
everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think with each new study, we are
Getting closer.
getting closer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
It is like a giant jigsaw puzzle.
It is.
You know, each piece, each study
Adds to the...
adds to our understanding of the big picture.
Yeah.
And in the case of substance use, you know, this understanding is critical
Oh, for sure.
for developing like more effective, more personalized interventions.
So if we connect all this back to the listener,
Okay.
what are like the key takeaways here?
What do we want them to?
Yeah, what do we want them to like walk away with?
You know, I think the most important takeaway is substance use and addiction.
Yeah.
They're not simply about making bad choices.
Right. We've established that.
They're complex conditions.
Yeah.
Influenced by, you know, biology, brain chemistry, individual experiences.
All of it.
All of that. Yeah.
Like, it's like we've been looking at it
through the wrong lens.
through the wrong lens for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of, blaming people for their struggles.
Right.
We need to
understand the underlying factors
and why.
that contribute to their vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think with this understanding
yeah.
comes a greater capacity for empathy and compassion,
Which we need.
which we desperately need.
Yeah.
You know, it allows us to approach prevention and treatment
From
a place of support rather than judgment,
yes, 100%.
you know,
And it also makes you appreciate just how resilient
the human
the
being.
human brain is. Like, even if someone has like a certain brain structure
All right.
or hormonal profile, they're not destined.
Not necessarily destined
To have a substance use disorder.
to develop those problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we need to focus on, you know, fostering that resilience.
Yeah.
Empowering individuals.
To make like good choices.
To make informed choices.
Yeah. About their health and well-being.
Exactly. And as research continues,
Yeah.
we'll hopefully develop even more effective, you know,
Tools. Yeah.
tools and strategies
Yes. To help people.
to support people on their journey.
Yeah. I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
I think so.
From adolescent brain development to
Estrogen.
estrogen. Yeah. The surprising role of estrogen.
I don't know.
We've explored some really fascinating connections between,
Biology.
and substance use. So.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it sparked your curiosity
I got you thinking.
and encouraged you to think differently about this complex and often
Misunderstood.
misunderstood topic. So until next time.
See you later.